Handlebars can completely change the way that your bike rides, and the two default handlebars are drop bars and riser bars. But in between drop bars and riser bars is an entire world of wonderful and wacky handlebars that might just be for you. This is a case for alt bars, just like how this message from our sponsor Wabi Cycles might be for you. Wabi is hands down just the funnest bike that I've ever thrown a leg over, and they're a pretty dang good value for your money. Stick around till the end of the video and be sure to check out Wabi Cycles linked in the description to learn more about them. While drop bars and riser bars may be the two default handlebars, they aren't for everybody, and you might even experienced it if you have drop bars because that's what came on your bike, or because they look super sick, or because that's what everyone tells you to ride, but you never actually ride down here in the drops. Or if you're somebody that rides riser bars, because again, that's what your bike came with and a lot of other bikes have it, and they are the most user-friendly handlebar, but you find them pretty uncomfortable on the wrists, and that your bike fit may not be ideal with them and can lead to neck pain, back pain, all that good stuff. But drop bars are so great because they're so classic. They've been proven over decades to be a very versatile, very fast, and comfortable, for some people, handlebar. You got all these hand positions from the tops, the corners, the hoods. I don't have any hoods on, but this is the hood's position. The bends and all the way down to the drops. In this simple bends, you could go all the way from being comfort to being super aerodynamic by being able to tuck your elbows in and get down low to slice through the wind. They're pretty sick, but that doesn't mean they don't have their problems. And a lot of people have aversions to drop bars just because not everybody finds them comfortable. And on top of that, just the look of them is pretty aggressive and can be pretty intimidating, maybe a pro or a con. Drop bars also don't have a ton of room to carry a front load because it drops down. Your hands may come into contact with your rack or your basket or your load. And if you want to run a front load, it's better to get wider drop bars, but then again, it's changing the comforts and ergonomics of your bike and may not even be ideal depending on what kind of riding you're doing, because they're still not going to be as wide as an alt bar, but we'll get to that. And risers, on the other hand, have pretty much the opposite problem, where they're super easy to use. Like, anybody can look at a pair of risers and figure it out. You put your hands on the grips, you're good to go. But because of that limitation, they're not super comfortable, especially if you're riding longer distances. And there's a lot of cyclists that are in between, where we're serious about cycling, but we're not competitive about it and don't need to be as aerodynamic as possible at all times. We sometimes like carrying a front load, or we like riding off-road. We like riding longer distances and need varied hand positions. But the risers and the drop bars don't exactly fit the bill for us. Alt bars exist because they solve problems, and the biggest problem that they solve is fit for your bike. Bike fit is, again, the most important thing when it comes to whether you're having fun on the bike. Comfort is king. If you're not comfortable, if your bike doesn't fit properly, you're probably not going to have all that much fun on your bike, and you might even be in pain. But because alt bars come in so many different shapes and sizes, it's pretty easy to find an alt bar that works for you and your bike fit. And because alt bars diverge pretty widely from the traditional shapes and dimensions of regular handlebars, you can get front loads on your bike pretty easily. And a lot of alt bars tend to be wider than traditionally spec'd handlebars, so that you can have more control over your front load. They even have some more varied hand positions. Like, this is the Velo Orange Granola Mousse. Be sure to check out my video on it over here. I freaking love this bar. This is the main hand position, which is just better than a flat bar, riser bar hand position for me, because it's a more ergonomic angle for the wrists. I've actually ridden an entire century ride just mainly using this hand position, about 70 out of 100 miles, just right here. And then you can also get into the bends right here, where the stems meet this crossbar to get a pseudo hood's position, and you can even get more aerodynamic by getting really bang up close with your hands together and tucking in your elbows, and it's actually rivals the versatility of hand positions that I get with drop bars. And there's a lot of different types of wacky alt bars that you can pick your poison and see what suits you and your bike and your riding style the best. And that's what's so fun about alt bars. The width on the handlebar also makes it easier to control the front load because the bike can get a bit more squirrely. So you have all this leverage to really like manhandle the bike. And it also makes it great for riding off-road and having a lot of control there. And for climbing because it like opens up the chest and gives you a lot of leverage to maneuver the bike when you're going uphill, especially important if you're riding a single speed or fixed gear. The most unexpected benefit that I've gotten from alt bars though is the mentality. I am normally a drop bar rider because I actually quite like drops. I find them comfortable. I find them like fast enough for me. But the mentality with drop bars is that this communicates to other cyclists on the road that you take cycling seriously and you care about going fast. And that is particularly a problem when you're in a town full of roadies who always want to race you and you just really don't care. Because with drop bars, to a certain extent, when you're putting this on your bike, you're admitting that, yes, I do care about going fast. Yes, I do care about performance and stats and all that good stuff. But when you put alt bars on your bike, they're just so wild and wacky, it's fine, that you have to not care about your performance to a certain extent because you are admitting that, yeah, I am doing this for reasons other than speed that are more important to me. And the mentality with alt bars is that like, I'm just trying to have fun on my bike. I take cycling seriously, but not that kind of seriously. And the main thing for me and my bike is to be comfortable and to have fun. And if I have to be a little bit slower to do it, so be it. It just takes you out of that drop bar category of cyclist. When other people see alt bars on their bike, it kind of like breaks the game where it's like, I don't know what category to put you in because your bars are just so weird. What the heck are those? Alt bars do make riding my bike a bit more fun, a bit more laid back, partially because people aren't really trying to race me anymore. And or even funnier if somebody does try to race me and I can like drop them with these handlebars. And there's so many different types of alt bars. Handlebars are one of the best upgrades because just swapping them out can completely change the way that your bike rides, and they tend not to be all that expensive. And there's probably an alt bar for everybody as long as you can get over the fact that you won't be as fast as possible and your bike won't look as cool and trendy as possible. But the bike industry is wising up to the fact that there's a lot of cyclists that don't care about riding as fast as possible all the time, and that we do take cycling seriously, but we're not competitive about it. And we ride longer distances and like varied hand positions, and we like to ride kind of fast, but it's not the most important thing. But rather the most important thing is being comfortable and having fun. If you're not a competitive cyclist, I urge you to consider trying out alt bars. It could be a fun experiment that could reinvigorate your love for cycling and give you a completely different perspective of what life can be like on the bike. And be sure to let me know in the comments below what your favorite handlebar is. Speaking of our favorite things, this video is sponsored by Wabi Cycles. My Wabi Special is the most fun bike that I've ever ridden. The way Wabi's bikes are designed is very holistic. They look at every single thing to make sure that it gives you the best ride quality for your money as possible. Wabi's fixed gear and single speed bikes are constructed with a mostly road-like geometry that's slightly more aggressive for the preferences of us fixed gear riders, because most of us that are buying fixed gear bikes are riding them on the street anyway. And they help to bring the ride quality to life with very lively, supple Reynolds 725 or Columbus Spirit tubing. The way that these tube sets flex, they plane really nicely where it feels like the bike is giving in, it's pliable, but still springing back and giving you a responsive ride quality. Because it is steel, it's durable, it can take a beating, it can be locked up, it can be crashed. I have crashed these multiple times before, and they're totally fine. It's the most fun, most reliable daily bike that I've ever ridden. If you're interested in getting one for yourself, be sure to check out Wabi Cycles, linked in the description. And Fixie famous shoutouts to David K, Salvador Lombroso, Julian Corona, Brandon Black, Brent David, Mohr, Perez, Ted Onchi, and Brakeless for helping to make these fixed gear videos possible through their support on Patreon. And remember that life is short, but don't make it shorter. So be sure to ride your bike every day to be reasonably dangerous.